What if you're not falling apart but awakening? There are moments in life, quiet, ordinary moments when the familiar suddenly feels foreign. You keep showing up. You keep laughing at the right cues. You still do what's expected. But beneath it all, something has shifted. The spark is gone. The roles you once played with ease feel heavy, ill-fitting. Even your reflection feels like a memory of someone you used to be. You're not sad. You're not broken. But you're not the same. In this silence, questions emerge. Am I fading? Losing purpose? What's happening to me? But what if this isn't a breakdown? What if it's a spiritual initiation? An awakening of the self beneath the surface? Carl Jung called this sacred unraveling the beginning of individuation, the soul's way of reclaiming its true path. And it doesn't come with fanfare. It comes as restlessness, stillness, and subtle disconnection from the life you carefully crafted. Not because you've failed, but because you've grown, because your soul is nudging you toward a truth deeper than routine, louder than applause. This is not confusion. It is a sacred invitation, an inward pull, a quiet calling. It's the beginning of your rebirth. Sign 1. When what once fulfilled you now leaves you empty. This shift often begins in the everyday. You're sipping your morning coffee, driving the same route, following your routine, but this time it all feels heavy. A weight in your chest, a sigh you can't explain. A question quietly rises. Why does everything feel so dull when nothing has changed? Consider Emily, she's 40. Admired by colleagues, loved by her family, respected in her community. Her calendar is full. Her checklist is complete, but she feels invisible to herself. The smiles she gives feel rehearsed. Her job, once energizing, now feels like a scene from a play she's tired of performing. Her life looks perfect from the outside, but inside something is dimming. This isn't depression. This isn't burnout. It's the soul whispering, "You're outgrowing this story." Jung described this as a turning of tides, a psychological reversal when a life built on outward success starts to feel inwardly incomplete. If you've built your identity around being dependable, strong, or in control, this shift often demands you surrender those roles. What once lit you up now exhausts you. You begin to question the foundation of everything. Your work, your relationships, your goals. It's disorienting, but not dangerous. It's sacred. Let this questioning rise. Let the ache speak. Don't smother it with distraction. This is not the end, it's preparation. The life you created was real, but it may no longer nourish who you are becoming. This discomfort is fertile ground. Something new is ready to grow. Let it. Sign 2. When the masks you've worn no longer fit. One day you may wake up, look at your life, and feel like a stranger. Not because anything is wrong, but because something is changing. The titles you once wore with pride, the parent, the professional, the achiever, now feel like armor that no longer protects but suffocates. Take David, he's 48. He's spent decades doing the right thing, providing, showing up, sacrificing. He's respected, admired. But when his children left home and his father passed, a quiet hollow opened up inside him. He began asking, who am I without being needed? The roles he played so well suddenly felt hollow. This isn't failure, it's transformation. Jung taught that the ego, while necessary, is not the whole self. It's a shell we build to survive. But when the soul is ready to grow, that shell begins to crack, and what's underneath is raw, tender, and real. You may start acting out of character, saying no more often, craving solitude, distancing from what once defined you. This isn't regression. It's resurrection. You are shedding identities that once kept you safe but now feel limiting. This unraveling can feel like grief. But beneath that grief is clarity. You're meeting yourself again. Not the version shaped by expectations, but the one shaped by truth. You're not disappearing. You're returning. Let the false fall away. Let the real rise. Sign 3. When the world around you no longer feels aligned. At some point, your external world may start to lose its color. Not visually, but spiritually. You look around and feel like you no longer belong to what you once loved. Your workplace, your friendships, your habits, they all feel slightly misaligned. Samantha, a 37-year-old teacher, experienced this quietly. Her classroom, once her sanctuary, began to feel small. Her conversations felt repetitive. She wasn't angry. She just wasn't resonating anymore. After months of therapy and journaling, she realized it wasn't that the world had changed. She had. Jung spoke of this fracture between the inner and outer world as a necessary disruption. When your inner self begins to evolve, the world that once reflected you no longer does. You feel like you're watching your life through glass, present, but not truly in it. This is not something to fear, it's something to listen to. You are not abandoning your life. You are inviting it to meet you where you are now. Realignment doesn't always mean quitting everything. Sometimes it means pausing, reevaluating, adjusting. Samantha didn't abandon teaching. She began infusing it with more meaning, more authenticity. She started sharing her own writing and in doing so found her place again. Let this disconnect guide you toward your truth. It's not a detour. It's your soul pointing toward home. Sign 4. When you begin to trust your inner voice. This journey often comes with a new awareness, a subtle sense that your intuition, your body, your heart, your inner knowing, knows things your mind can't yet explain. You start to notice. You hesitate before commitments. You feel drawn to things that don't make sense on paper. You trust the quiet over the noise. Elisa, a 44-year-old executive, lived her life by logic, deadlines, plans, measurable goals. But after attending a silent retreat she almost skipped, something inside her shifted. Not dramatically, but deeply. For the first time, she heard her inner voice without the static of expectation. She came home changed. She started waking up without alarms. She allowed space in her schedule. She wrote poems instead of reports. Slowly, she stopped organizing her life and started listening to it. This is what Jung called living symbolically. You stop moving through life as a series of tasks and begin living in response to what feels sacred, meaningful, aligned. You begin to trust yourself, not the conditioned self, but the core self that's been waiting beneath the noise. And in that trust you find peace, not perfection, but deep peace. Let that quiet voice lead. It knows the way home. Sign 5. When you feel the emergence of a truer you. There comes a moment in this journey, not with fireworks, but with calm, when you realize you've changed. It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels honest. You're not chasing anymore. You're not proving. You're simply breathing, living being. Jason, a 52-year-old designer, learned this in the stillness of his garden. After a health scare forced him to slow down, he noticed the breeze again, the way light moves through leaves, the texture of soil. One morning, he picked up a pencil and sketched a leaf. Not for a client, not for approval, but because it felt true. That simple act unlocked something sacred. Jung called this crossing the threshold. The ego doesn't vanish, but it loosens. And from that loosening, the deeper self, the one built on presence, not performance, rises. You light candles for no reason. You cry and don't apologize. You breathe slower, walk softer, speak with less urgency. You stop pretending. You start becoming. You are not losing control. You are finding trust. In yourself, in life. In the mystery that doesn't need to be solved, only honored. Let this version of you rise. It's not a replacement. It's a revelation. You're not fading. You're returning to yourself. This space, this still sacred, confusing space, is where many people turn back. They retreat to what's familiar, rebuild old identities, return to roles that no longer fit, just to feel stable again. But if you've read this far, you're not meant to turn back. If your soul is whispering, if the world feels too loud, if a deeper voice inside is waking up, you are not unraveling. You are emerging. Let go of the need to explain this to anyone. Let your life speak through your presence, your peace, your purpose. Don't seek clarity. Seek honesty. Don't rush to fix the silence. Learn to honor it. Write something tonight, not for an audience, but for your soul. Look in the mirror and bless the version of you that carried. You hear and gently release them. You are not falling behind. You are falling inward. You are not lost. You are coming home. The path ahead may not be lit, but it is real. It is yours. Walk it with wonder, with reverence, with grace. And when you're ready, I'll meet you in the next chapter, where we continue becoming who we were always meant to be.